The 2023 summer season of anime was pretty stacked. The heavy hitters being, of course, JJK Season 2 and Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Core 2. But there was also plenty of other massive hits like Zom 100, Horimiya The Missing Pieces, and My Happy Marriage. But with all these heavy-hitting series, I think a lot of other great shows went unnoticed by a lot of people. And one especially, Undead Girl Murder Farce, or just simply Undead Murder Farce. I decided to watch this anime last night, and it's safe to say I ended up falling in love with it. Obviously, none of you know this, but I love, detective mystery stories. For one, some of my favorite movies are based upon Agatha Christie's books, A Murder on the Orient Express and A Haunting in Venice. And that is also very true for manga. Like, one of my favorite anime and mangas is Moriarty the Patriot. And this manga actually is important for something we're going to talk about later about this anime. Actually, kind of a funny story about that. It was my grandma who got me into all of this murder mystery type things. Like, she has a bookshelf just full of older murder mystery books. Like, she loves James Patterson. She has, all of his murder mysteries. And that, of course, also applies to TV shows. Like, I remember growing up, my grandma and my mom would always watch Murder, She Wrote. And if you haven't watched Murder, She Wrote, you're missing out, is all I'm going to say. Of course, though, Undead Girl Murder Farce is a lot less grounded in reality than the others. But that's what makes it good. It takes an already well-established genre, the detective genre, and puts a very unique twist on it. So with that being said, let's actually get into the story, because that's what you're all here for anyway, not some lore drops about my life. Undead Girl Murder Farce follows Aya the Immortal, Suguru the Oni Slayer, and Shizuku, Aya's maid. Aya is obviously immortal, Suguru is part Oni, but the fusion of human and Oni makes him a borderline unstoppable force, and Shizuku is legit just a badass maid. The story begins when a certain someone steals Aya's body, leaving her with just a head. Normally, with her being immortal and all that, her body would regenerate, but she was attacked by another Oni-human hybrid, and Oni attacks interfere with the regeneration process, aka stopping the healing factor. So Aya, of course wanting to get her body back, goes on the search to find another Oni-human hybrid to be her muscle while she's the brains of the operation. This obviously leads to the formation of the trio with Suguru, who also has a motive regarding the man who stole her body. Now, of course, they can't just go and find this mysterious dude instantly, so they end up becoming detectives, hoping that during their work they can find out clues regarding him and his location. One other thing I'd like to also add, their team, namely Suguru, is known as the Cage User. This is because he typically carries her around in a cage, and most people think that's just Shizuku doing ventriloquism, which leads to some pretty funny reactions when they realize that Aya is just a talking head. With that, you can already see how unique this story is. It puts a very nice twist upon the detective genre. Typically that genre is, doesn't really involve any supernatural stuff or very light supernatural stuff. But this anime is heavily involved in that. I mean, Aya is legitimately just a head, Suguru is a part human, part Oni, but there's also tons of other stuff too. Like, this series involves vampires, it involves werewolves, just tons of stuff you'd expect from the occult or just supernatural stuff in general. Another factor that makes it pretty unique as well doesn't have anything to do with the supernatural aspect, no. It has to do with the cameos, or I guess the other pre-existing characters or real people that are added into the story, like Sherlock Holmes and Watson, Lupin, who is based upon a French novel about a gentleman thief, and Aleister Crowley, who is the father of the occult, basically. And another thing, minor spoiler, of course, I'm not going to say his name, but the main villain, the guy who stole Aya's body, and the guy who Suguru has a motive with, isn't based upon, he is already a pre-existing character in fiction, and a pretty famous one at that. So in my opinion, I think that's one of the coolest things ever. You're taking already pre-existing characters and putting so many twists and turns upon their characters, adding in supernatural where supernatural stuff isn't typically in, and I just like that. I think that's pretty cool. I'm sure as a kid, or even as of now, you've read characters, or read manga, animes, books, TV shows, movies, whatever, seen characters and thought in your head it'd be cool if they were in a different story, or even made your own story in your head with them. And this anime this anime really does that. And I just really like that. I really love that, to be honest. And typically, when you get a series that has supernatural occurrences like this one that take place in a, relatively speaking, normal world, the average person doesn't know that these things exist. But so far, at least in the anime, most people know that at least surface level monsters exist. And that leads to some really cool conflicts, because there's vampires who want to live among humans, and it's like a whole political thing, getting laws and bills passed for that. And obviously, a lot of average, normal humans don't want to live amongst vampires. So they're like protesting against the bill, or they're actually killing or attempting to kill the vampires. And it adds a really nice twist on the supernatural aspect. And with this anime, of course, the main factor is the mysteries, right? I mean, it's what the anime is. Detectives solving mysteries. And the mysteries, for the most part, are actually pretty cool and pretty good. And there isn't too much leaps in logic. There is some leaps of logic in this anime. So I'm not going to say you can solve the mysteries 100% concretely just by watching it and like picking up on the clues. But with that being said, you can definitely pick up on clues that aren't said outright until the end, and apply that logic and come to a semi-understanding of who the culprit is. So all in all, this combination of supernatural, detectives, mysteries, real characters that are already made, even real-life people, is like a match made in heaven. But I wouldn't say there isn't any problems. There definitely, like with anything, it isn't perfect. There is a few issues with it. And with that being said, I'm about to say a minor spoiler. So if you don't want to hear that, click off now. So you've been warned. All right. Well, I hope you clicked off if you don't want spoilers. But during the Lupin arc, we get introduced to the main villain group, the Akatsuki. No, I'm kidding. The Banquet. Now, the Banquet and the Cage User, they fight, of course. The Cage Users, I should say, referring to that group. And Sherlock Holmes and all that. They start fighting, but later on, like the next arc, they meet again. But it seems that a certain character within the Banquet already knows them from like a previous encounter prior to that. Or maybe after it, they somehow talked and formed an alliance. Which is pretty weird. Like, it's just thrown out of nowhere. And I don't like that. I don't know if that's like already a pre-made. I'm sure it is already a pre-made character that exists. I didn't look into it. So there might be like some lore that I'm missing by not knowing too much about that and the interactions, I guess, between the Immortal maybe. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. But it kind of just jumps out of nowhere, and they're like an ally, kind of. I didn't like that. And even just throughout the whole anime, the pacing, I'm not saying it's like slow or too fast or anything, but like stuff kind of just happens. Not on the same level as the Weird Alliance thing, but there is some weirdness that happens. I'm not going to say what, but if you watch it, you'll know what I mean. The pacing is sort of inconsistent from mystery to mystery, or even during the mysteries. But yeah. Anyway, I don't really got much else to add. I personally love this anime for what it is. That little weird factor thing that happened, like the Weird Alliance, did kind of throw me off a bit, though. And with that being said, I'm going to have to give it an 8. An 8's a good rating, very high rating. I was going to give it a 9. I know I am kind of a heavy-hander when it comes to rating things. But due to that issue, I'm going to have to give it an 8. But overall, amazing anime. I totally recommend you watch it if you haven't already. And with that, this wraps up the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And also, my Lore of the Mysteries video I seen. Crazily, that video has like 300 views now, and I gained like 4 or 5 subs off of it. Don't know why. It was the only video that like I didn't show, I guess, my ugly face. And I edited I fully edited it without just this type of footage. But yeah, I want to say thank you all for the support on that video, even though it kind of sucked in my opinion. But whatever. I'll see y'all in the next one. Be out tomorrow. We're going to be a review on, I'm not going to spoil it. See y'all tomorrow.